Hi, my name is Johnny Moore. I am founder of Black Men LLC, an organization designed to help Black men and all people. But I want to emphasize that because it's not about just helping Black men, but it's about helping all people understand the principles of life so that they could reach their highest potential. Today, I want to talk about success, but not the kind of success that you might measure in your bank account. It's not the kind of success that is attached to money. It's the kind of a success that is attached to knowledge. Now, one of the things that we've got to understand about success is that really, we're not really successful until we figure out that we're here to solve someone else's problems. It could be a nation, it could be a group of people, wherever you live through, whatever you've gone through, and you come out on the other side of, and you've learned through that particular obstacle or challenge in your life how to overcome it. You can help now other people overcome that same problem. There's two types of knowledge that I want to talk about today. I want to talk about learned knowledge and lived knowledge. Learned knowledge is the kind of knowledge that we amassed and obtained through going to school and going through college. We start off with learned knowledge in grade school and then middle school and high school. And then if you choose to, you can go on to college and develop more knowledge and learn more learned knowledge, if you will. Uh, Learned knowledge is very important in terms of structuring lived knowledge. See, we think of learned knowledge as the primary knowledge. Learned knowledge is not primary. Lived knowledge is primary. Let me explain. Lived knowledge is the kind of knowledge that you've obtained through life. You've gone through obstacles. You've gone through challenges. You've lived through some things. It's like riding a bicycle. When you learn how to ride a bicycle, you'll never forget it. It is the same thing with lived knowledge. It's like riding a bicycle. Once you've lived it, you'll never forget it. You'll always remember lived knowledge. Lived knowledge is the kind of knowledge that leads you into your destiny. With lived knowledge, it's determined your race, it's determined your family, it's determined the things that you will ultimately go through in your life. It even will determine your passion for life, the things that you feel passionate about, the things that have grown deep into your heart that you want to see solved, and you want to do something about that particular problem. That's lived knowledge. That's primary knowledge. The problem is that what we do is we try to make learned knowledge, going to school and getting an education, primary knowledge. And a lot of times what is happening is people are coming out of school with degrees and titles and all these things, but they don't even like what they do. They don't even love their job because they didn't follow primary knowledge. They follow secondary knowledge because that's what we were taught. But when you take secondary knowledge and couple it on top of primary knowledge, when you know who you are, you know your purpose, you know what you want to achieve in life, and then you develop that gifting and you develop that purpose in your life with secondary knowledge, with learned knowledge, school knowledge, then you've got something really going on in your life because you've matured that gift, you've educated that gift, you brought that gift to a place in your life now where it's usable, and now you can become a success in life in solving the problems of other people. Now I want to read a scripture to you today out of Genesis 50, verse 20. It says, "But as for you, you thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring to pass as it is this day, to save much people alive. That is Joseph speaking to his brothers who had betrayed him, sold him into slavery. He had lived years in slavery and in bondage. But what Joseph did was he grew. He learned that even though his brothers had meant evil in his life and meant to harm him, that God was using the very things that were meant to harm him to develop him and mature him so that he would save many lives down the road in his life. All of us have lived through some type of evil. We've either seen evil or we've actually lived evil. What makes us relevant is the knowledge of the things that we have gone through. Let me say that again. What makes us relevant is the knowledge of the things that we have gone through. You got to understand what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is that what really makes you real, what makes you relevant to people, is the things that you personally have lived through, the things that you can talk about, the things that you have gone through. It makes you relevant. And so when you look at the evil and you look at what you've gone through and you've seen evil and you've grown up in certain environments, those things make you relevant to life. It makes you relevant to other people who have gone through and lived through the same things that you have lived through. Your knowledge to solve someone else's problems comes from learning it and learning the solution yourself. In other words, you've gone through that thing. You dealt with that obstacle. You dealt with that challenge. And it might have took you a long time to get through it. You've learned certain knowledges about certain things. When we think about Moses living in Egypt for all of those years, he learned Egypt. He knew Egypt. He was relevant when it came to Egypt. So when it was time to take the children of Israel out of bondage and out of slavery, he was the perfect person to do the job because he had actually lived through that particular circumstance in his life. And so he knew the solutions. He knew what to do. He knew to tell Pharaoh to let my people go. He knew how to lead the children of Israel through the wilderness. And so he did. And because he was the most relevant person for that job. Everything that you've lived through, you got to understand this, counts. Life counts. Everything that you lived through counts. The evil you've lived and seen is meant to be used eventually for good. Now, here's the problem that we face a lot of times in life. A lot of people take the evil and they get bitter and they get angry. And they take that evil and they live out the evil the rest of their life. They never make the turn, so to speak, in life to realize that the evil that they've learned was really meant to be used for good. In other words, what you're supposed to do is take the obstacles and the challenges and the things that you faced in life that had harmed you, that you had to deal with, that you faced throughout all those years of your life. And at some point in the transformation of your mind, changing the way you think, about those particular situations, what happens is that you learn to use the very evil in your life and the evil you've seen in your life for good, because now you're relevant. You can help other people overcome that very obstacle that you've seen and that you faced in your life. You're relevant. You're relevant to somebody. You are becoming a successful person. Not in money, that will come, but in helping others overcome their problems and solve their problems through the same way you came out and solved yours. You're relevant now. you're somebody. You're somebody to be reckoned with. You're somebody to listen to because you've been there yourself. And so now you can talk about those very challenges and obstacles. Now I want to talk a little bit about selfishness, because what we have to understand about selfishness is that selfishness destroys lives. Selfishness is keeping your story hidden from other people. Instead of helping others, you try to grow and become the person that you want to be in life. You don't want to face those obstacles. You don't want to know. You don't want people to know what you've gone through in your life. You don't want them to understand the moments that you were sexually molested or raped. You don't understand. You don't want them to understand what you may have went through in terms of being fired on jobs or whatever your particular situation is. You don't want to be relevant. You want the education and the money without the relevance. And people don't want to listen to people who have not gone through anything. You've got to become relevant. You've got to come out of your shell. You're selfish. That's selfishness. You're holding on to the very thing that people need and people want in order for them to overcome the obstacles that they're dealing with in their own life. And so what we've got to understand about selfishness is that selfishness is not what we think a lot of times. Selfishness is just merely keeping from people the things you've gone through in your life, because you have not understood yet that those things are the things that make you relevant to others. Those are the things that you can use to help save other people's lives. If Joseph didn't want to talk about slavery, if he didn't want to talk about going to prison, then when it came time to be relevant and help a whole nation of people overcome a famine, he wouldn't have been able to do so, because he was selfish all of those years and nobody knew anything about his story or anything about his life, because he hid it from others and he never shared what he was going through in his life with others, so he didn't become relevant to help others when it was his time to do so. So don't be selfish. Get out of that selfishness. Start to help people understand that you've been through something, that you're relevant, that you've overcome some obstacles, that you face challenges. These are the things that I've gone through in my life. And so now I'm going to use these things to help other people come out of the same problems in their life. And now you become relevant. You become somebody to be reckoned with. You become a success in life. And there is something now that is going on the inside of you that makes you feel important, that makes you feel special, that makes you feel needed. And everyone wants to feel needed and special at some point in their lives. And so through the process of pain, what we have to learn is that we develop our purpose. Our purpose is developed through the process of the pain that we live through in our lives. And so you've got a mighty purpose and a mighty thing that you were meant to help and save other people's lives through that pain that you've gone through those obstacles and those challenges you've had to face in life. Now you're ready to help someone else because you have purpose. You have relevancy in life. And so now you can solve the problems that you've identified in your own life and you've overcome in your own life, and now you can help them overcome those same problems. It's what we call success. If you really want to be successful at life, that's how you become successful at life. Now, I want to say one thing, and then I'm going to close this particular message out. Now, you can't solve someone else's problems if you haven't overcome them yourself. Now, let me reiterate that and give you an understanding of what I'm saying here. There is the person that is ready because they have gone through something, come out on the other side of it, and now have learned how to solve that problem themselves, and now they can help other people overcome that same problem. What I'm saying is that we're not always ready when we think we're ready. Sometimes we've got to go through some things before we are able to help other people go through that same thing in their life. And so it takes years sometimes to develop. Like Moses, it took him 40 years and then 40 years in the wilderness before he became ready to help the children of Israel get out of bondage and go to the promised land. It took him 80 years. And so when you're in the process of developing your gift, developing your relevancy, understand that you may be going through some things. You may be facing obstacles. You may be dealing with certain challenges in your life. But those challenges are not meant to break you. You learn from them. The evil that you meant and that they meant to hurt you and to bring you down so that you could never reach your greatest potential. That same evil is the evil that God meant to bless you, to use you, to solve the problems and be a solution maker in other people's lives for good. And so I thank you for the opportunity that you've given me today to speak with you on this all-important subject. I want you to be a success in life. I want you to meet the challenges in life. But you have to go through the obstacles in life to get there. Thank you so much. Bye now.